Today is Tuesday, October 24th. My name is Nancy Kaspersky, and our Bible verse today comes from Daniel chapter 3, verses 19 to 30. And we begin. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the expression on his face changed toward Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He spoke and commanded that they heat the furnace 7 times more than it was usually heated. And he commanded the certain mighty men of valor who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their trousers, and their turbans, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's command was so urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?" And they answered and said to the king, "True, O king." "Look," he answered, "I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God." Then Nebuchadnezzar went to near the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke, saying, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here." Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came from the midst of the fire. And the satraps and administrators, governors, and the king's counselors gathered together, and saw that these men, on whose bodies the fire had no power, the hair of their head was not singed, nor were their garments affected, and the smell of fire was not on them. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him. And they have frustrated the king's word, and have yielded their bodies, that they should not serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I make a decree that any people, nation, or language which speaks anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut into pieces, and their houses shall be made an ash heap, because there is no other God who can deliver like this." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Our discussion from this verse is called "Our Silly Idols." This is one of my congregation's favorite readings at Easter Vigil. Read all of Daniel 3 and notice the humor. Repeated lists of officials and musicians, a pompous king, and exaggerated details. Put stick-on mustaches on some kids and make them officials. Hand others some instruments, and everyone's laughing in no time. Daniel reminds us just how ridiculous we are when we put our trust in gods of our own making. He reminds us of what drastic measures we will take to protect our self-created security. But notice the words of the 3 men, verses 17 to 18, just ahead of today's passage. "If our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire and out of your hand, O king, let him deliver us. But if not, we will not serve your gods, and we will not worship the golden statue you have put up." Unlike Nebuchadnezzar, their faithfulness wasn't dependent on God performing party tricks. They were anchored in the truth that God is God, and nothing else is worth our trust. Our prayer for the day: Delivering God, free me when I am worshiping my own creations. Teach me to trust you alone. Amen.